Chris, let me come to you on Liverpool. You know, a lot of people want to write them off now. The title looks a long way off, but have they now got to fight on to actually finish in the top four?
I'm amazed that I listen to some of the criticism of Liverpool. This is a team here from last season, won the title, Champions League, season before, Champions League final, I think. It's labelled as one of the best teams that we've seen in the Premier League, and they absolutely are. So this season, they've had crippling injuries. They've lost a lot of important key players. And I think as well, for the style of play that Jurgen likes, the way it's heavy metal football, it's absolutely from the first minute until you drop. They've been doing that for 2-3 seasons. And I just think sooner or later that will catch up. And you're going to have a spell where you got injuries, you loss of form, a bit more pressure. I think that's all come at once for Liverpool. I think they do need to invest again now because they're still a great team, great place to come back in. They're having a sticky moment. Will they win the league? No, I don't think they will. Will they be great again like they were last year? Yeah, of course they can be because they've still got the same players there. They just need to add a little bit to it, I think, again. I think they need to back Jurgen again in the transfer market. And there'll be no reason why we don't see them doing that. There's no team that does it like that at the top every season. It just doesn't happen. Name a great team. They always have a dip. Liverpool are having one now. Can they come back and be great again? Yeah, absolutely, of course. Jurgen's the same manager. They've got the same players there, albeit he can't pick from the exact same team he would like. And a lot of their players, they look a bit tired and jaded because they've been at it for 2 or 3 years, playing the fastest football, the most aggressive football, the most exciting football. And now we've seen them, they've hit a bit of a plateau, they're having a bit of a downturn, but they'll come back again.
How do you see it 24 hours on? No excuses, mind. Roy will be watching.
Chris has just mentioned about players coming in. I just want to mention, I'm going to actually look at the 2018 Champions League final team and how close that is still into the team today. But initially when Jurgen Klopp came in, Liverpool were a team who were 6th or 7th. His first summer he bought 3 players. It was Matip, Wijnaldum, Mane. That then took him into the Champions League. Over the next 12 months, he then brought in Salah in the summer, Van Dijk in the January, and Alisson on the back of the Champions League final. That then took them again to Champions League win and a title. This team we're going to look at now in 2018, I think Liverpool are back at that stage where they need those 3 players to come back in again to give them that jolt. But I've thought about this for a while. I've always mentioned this with Liverpool. Forget the goalkeeper because we're talking about intensity, really, and running, and maybe Liverpool dropping off and maybe looking a bit jaded physically. And how similar this team is still to what Liverpool have today. That back 4, it's still the 2 full-backs. Van Dijk, when he's fit, still plays. Dejan Lovren. Now, he's played in... he's moved on, but Matip would have played that final if he was fit, and Gomez was still at the club. The midfield 2 is still Jordan Henderson, Wijnaldum, first choice. James Milner's played the last 4 or 5 games as well. That's the one area where Liverpool did bring someone in. It was Fabinho. That's still Liverpool's first choice. So we're talking about 1 player. And then you've got the front 3. So it's still the same team. It's been together for 3 years. We now look at the percentage of Premier League minutes played from the August 2018. And you look at the numbers. 83%, Van Dijk 81%, Andy Robertson 94%. Jordan Henderson had a couple of injuries, Wijnaldum very rarely out, and the front 3 very rarely get injured. So this is a team who have gone to the well basically for 3 years and produced unbelievable moments, trophies for this club. And that's why I find it a little bit hard to be too critical of what I'm seeing right at the minute. And actually seeing Andy Robertson as the highest number, because I felt a little bit for Andy Robertson yesterday on that 4th goal. And when that ball went over his head, I was watching in commentary, and I'm thinking, that's not Andy Robertson. He's not got out there quick enough. And that's not him. We are talking about the most aggressive, intense fullback we've seen for the last 3 years. And it was almost physical and mental fatigue. When that ball goes over your head and you're like, oh, I've got to go again. And he didn't get out quick. And that's not like him. And that's why I won't be too critical. This is not an attitude thing. This is not a team who think we've won the league, we've made it. They just haven't stopped for 3 years. And that team is basically still the team now. And that's why I say they need a little bit of help. But when we look at the percentage of minutes, let's compare that to the Premier League. So where Liverpool find themselves. And a player who was outstanding yesterday, Raheem Sterling, right there at the top, never misses games. But you actually look at the top, I'm not sure how many it is it top 10? Is it? Top 10 or 12? How many Liverpool players are involved in that? Mo Salah right at the top. Firmino never misses games. Andy Robertson, as we said. Sadio Mane and Wijnaldum. And every other top club has got one player. Of Man City have got two in Raheem Sterling, Bernardo Silva. And I think the reason people can say and be critical, and rightly so, and say, well, Jurgen doesn't rotate. He doesn't change his squad. Liverpool haven't got the squad and quality of backup, I think, of other clubs. And Liverpool wouldn't have won the trophies they have done over the last 2 or 3 years if they'd have rotated. When Liverpool won the league last year, the first game of the season was Friday Night Football, Liverpool at home to Norwich. Sadio Mane had been in a tournament and had 10 days off, that was it. And he was on the bench against Norwich. Now, Ferguson used to give the United lads a month off, so did Wenger, 28 days before you come back. Liverpool couldn't afford it because Man City were that good for the 2 years previously and getting 100 points. Liverpool knew they couldn't lose a game. They had to go into that season thinking, we have to win every game. And that's the position they find them in. So we will see next season whether this is something permanent.
Well, Chris is pretty convinced that they'll be back. Are you?
I'm convinced they'll be back, but I still think they need 3 players. They need that centre-back to come in. Maybe he's joined now in Quebec. They need someone to replace Wijnaldum, and they need someone in the front three. And I'm not talking about players on the bench. I'm talking about players to come into the team like Matip, Wijnaldum, Mane did, like Salah, Van Dijk and Alisson did. That's what Liverpool need.
That's what Man United did when they were winning league title after league title. But then they'd have a year or two they didn't win the league title. Then they'd bounce back again because they'd invest in the right areas, but proper investment. And nowadays we're talking hundreds of millions of pounds, maybe 150, 200 million, again, to go on top of what they've got. Even if they have a year this year where maybe they don't win something. And don't forget, the season before they won the title, 98 points. Any other season they win the title. They've been at it for 3-4 years, right up there.
Chris.
They're going to have a little...
Sorry, I just wanted to interject. The one thing I would say is we're talking about Man City here, who they played yesterday and obviously wiped the floor with them. Man City are a massive example for Liverpool this season. Man City lost 9 league games last season. They were 25, 30 points behind Liverpool, and look at them now. Yeah. That can easily happen to Liverpool next season. There's no doubt about that. And I just think what Man City are doing right now should be, as I said, an example to everyone in that dressing room and Jurgen Klopp that it's not the end of the world what's happening right now, and they've got more than enough to come back next season.
That's my point, because 3 months ago we were saying Man City are spent. Guardiola, is he going to stay at Man City? They're done, aren't they? And now they're top, and it looks like I can't see Man City not winning the league. They're playing that type of football again. They've got that belief. They're incredible. 4 months ago, 3 months ago, we weren't talking about Man City winning the league. It was the opposite. And that's football. You do that, and sometimes you do a bit of that.
It's this season, isn't it? You'll be regretting you said all that in a month's time. That's the way it's going right now.